We discuss the meaning of the Mexican celebration, Dia de los Muertos, and the challenges and opportunities to home ownership. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on Facebook and YouTube. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics. Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare. For more information, call 1-888-569-1000 or visit atlanticare.org. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.
Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. This is the time of year where many of us are celebrating Halloween, a time of fun, fear, and fantasy, while El Dia de los Muertos is a deeply spiritual celebration of life and death. We discuss this some more with my guest, Irvin Moreno Rodriguez. Irvin, welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you for having me on.
I know you wear a number of hats. So you work at Stockton University. Tell me a little bit about
Absolutely.
that.
So I'm actually the director of the Sarah and Sam Schofer Holocaust Resource Center at Stockton University. I'm a historian by trade, and I actually focus on the history of Latin America, Central America, and the Caribbean during World War II and the Holocaust.
So you're the perfect person to talk about El Dia de los Muertos, which is a celebration based upon Mexican culture. You also wear two other hats, one as the president of Pueblo Unido of Atlantic City, and also you're a member of Organizacion Azteca as well. Is that correct?
A member of Organizacion Azteca. I was one of the founders of El Pueblo Unido, now serve happily as its board president, but also a member of the Hispanic Association of Atlantic County.
And the Hispanic Association, as well as those other organizations, are involved in El Dia de los Muertos celebration, which is taking place when?
Absolutely. It's taking place on Saturday, November 1st of this year at the Noyes Art Garage in Atlantic City.
So I know it's a beautiful event, but let's talk a little bit about the history and why this is just an important celebration for the Mexican community. It's also celebrated throughout Latin America, but tell me more about that.
Well, I think it's important to make it abundantly clear that El Dia de los Muertos is not the Mexican Halloween, right? Okay. It's this important spiritual, cultural commemoration and movement, not only in Mexico, but in greater parts of Latin America, that serves to remember and celebrate the life and death of relatives in your family. And of course, friends. It's this really interesting cross-cultural connection, not only between Mexico and Latin America, but also within the United States. When we talk about Dia de los Muertos, it was not really celebrated in the United States up until the Chicano movement of the 1970s and the 1980s, where El Dia de los Muertos really, as this form of resistance, as this form of remembrance, and sort of as this light and proud movement of the Chicanos in the United States, did it really take a foothold in this country, which we see now today in all sorts of American life, not only in the media, but also in the stores as well.
But let's talk a little bit what that holiday and that celebration means.
Absolutely. So Dia de los Muertos is typically celebrated November 1st or November 2nd. Of every year, and it's really a time to commemorate those that have passed away. It's not necessarily a sad or morose occasion. It's a time of festivity, fiestas, parties, celebrations where typically small towns in Mexico and even big ones, the citizens will gather with music, with food, with ofrendas, of course, the altar, right, which is this ofrenda, this memorial to the dead is built either in your home or with the townspeople. And it's this sort of memorial where you place photographs of the deceased. You'll offer different things, typically the 4 elements on earth. So, for example, you'll have papel picado, which symbolizes the air. You'll offer water, of course, water. You'll have candles, which is fire, and of course, some delicious, delicious food to offer to those who have passed away, which would symbolize earth. And then, of course, even throughout the altar, to remember sort of our indigenous roots, you'll have the marigolds placed around in the altar, typically, which is sort of this connection to the indigenous, to the Aztec roots of the holiday.
So I know that the altar is very important, and you have an event coming up, again, you mentioned, is November the 1st. And there's going to be altars there, a contest of altars that would be provided. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's very interesting. I know I participated last year. Such an incredible job that was made by many families to honor the dead. Tell me more about that.
I think over the years, we've seen Dia de los Muertos really transcend Latin American roots in the United States, which is great. Because I think when we know more about each other's cultures and traditions, it makes this world a better place for all. And so the altar contest that we have at this Dia de los Muertos events will be you as an audience, as a guest who come to the event. It will give you the opportunity to go through some of the altars that are being designed and created by local artisans, community organizations, and students from local area schools. It'll be your time to come through, look through all the altars, and also judge them. Because we will be having a program. We will award the best altars that are participating this year. Just to touch upon last year, because this is our 2nd annual Dia de los Muertos citywide event. Last year, the altar that won first place was actually made by students at Brighton Avenue School that designed the altar in memory of a student, DJ Du, who passed away, unfortunately. And that was really emotional for everyone. It gave us the space to not only grieve, but celebrate life, and also the opportunity to get to know everyone else in the community. And that's what it's all about.
You mentioned celebration, because this truly is a celebration of the lives of those individuals that have passed, family members. At the event, I know you had some beautiful folkloric dances, etc. Are you planning to have that again this year?
Absolutely. So the program will start officially at 6. The doors open at 5 and will go until 9 o'clock. The program will feature folkloric dancers from Philadelphia that really stole the show last year with their costumes, the designs, the movement, the beauty, the tempo, and the music of our culture and our celebration. We will also announce the winners of the altar competition, as well as this year, we will actually have a competition of Catrinas and Catrins during the celebration. So we will have people.
Explain what that means.
So Catrinas, it's a really interesting history. It actually started at the Art Institute of Chicago, April of 1944. Wow. What I mean by that is there was a relatively unknown artist at the time in Mexico who had passed away. His name was Jose Posada. And the Art Institute in Chicago was designing an exhibit based on his drawings and images of skulls, and one that we know now of today as La Catrina. And that was on exhibit. That was being used for all the marketing collateral. And people wanted to go to that event. That during opening day, it caused this sort of chaos because everybody wanted to go into the museum, and it made all of national news. But La Catrina, Jose Posada, was relatively unknown at the time. But once this was introduced to the American audience, right, it really took a life on its own. And then all of a sudden, people started to realize that all of the images of La Catrina were all traced back to this relatively unknown artist who unfortunately died, passed away poor in Mexico, and he was never able to see all of the wonderful things that came out from his depiction of La Catrina.
Now, I know you were born here in the United States, right? And it's you maintaining that culture, that heritage from your parents, etc. Why is it so important for you to continue to do that?
Something, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Bert, something that I tell my students and everybody that I meet, particularly from the younger generation, is we need to be proud of who we are. You need to understand where we came from, what our roots are, and what our culture is. If you don't know your history, no one else is going to write it for you. And so it really empowers the next generation to learn more about where they came from, the traditions, the arts, not only for ourselves, but for those outside of our community. I truly believe that Atlantic City, the greater Atlantic County area, New Jersey, the country will be a much better place if we all knew just a little bit more about our faiths and traditions.
That is a perfect way to end this segment. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely, and remember, it's free and open to the public, free food, free music, free drinks, and also free pastries that we typically bake during Dia de los
I'm
Muertos.
definitely looking forward to it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bert.
Same here. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. Joining me is Jennifer Bollinger-Mello to discuss challenges and opportunities to home ownership. Jennifer, welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you, Bert, for inviting me.
Now, you're a realtor, so obviously you're a perfect person to talk about home ownership. I know that it's been very challenging for most families, including and especially the Latinos. Tell me a little bit about the challenges that you're seeing out in the market right now.
In the market right now, there's not enough inventory. Okay, so that's one of the biggest concerns right now, because a lot of people right now, there's more buyers and there's not enough houses. So that's a really big challenge. Another challenge is, well, they are not informed about the process. So they don't know who to trust. So it's all about finding the right realtor to guide them and help them and explain them throughout the process about to buy or sell, whatever they need.
Now, I know that the rate to borrow money has been pretty high, but it's reasonable right now. Is that correct?
Yes, it's reasonable right now, and it fluctuates. It just depends. And then what doesn't really help, it's the purchase price. So elevated house prices, but again, there's some stuff that are still manageable out there.
What's the worst conception that people may have about becoming a homeowner?
Having debt. It's not a bad thing. You're eventually owning something that is going to be yours. So that's one of the biggest assets you can have is obtain real estate.
It's an investment, right?
Yes, it's an investment for your future. It's either you pay somebody else's mortgage when you're renting or you pay your own mortgage. So that is like the main thing. You're at least investing to something that is yours.
Now, I know for Latino families, it's become a challenge, obviously, for everyone. Because of the inventory and just the fact that younger kids are not able to go right into the home market, right? And I know from experience, since I have a 33 and a 25-year-old that are still home, because it's been very challenging. What do you tell those individuals who are just hesitant, want to wait? Is there still opportunities today to become a homeowner?
So what I let them know is, in order to get informed, to make a plan, right? You stick to the plan, whether it be just asking a question, how do I get there? First, you want to go ahead and get pre-approved. And if you're not pre-approved, you kind of want to make a plan on how to get pre-approved eventually. So you have to have a good credit score. That's number one. You have to have a full-time employment, more than 2 years, and that full-time employment, the past 2 years of tax history. So that's kind of like the plan. You have to set yourself into that mentality where, okay, well, for me, I was young. I bought my house when I was 25 years old. It took me 3 years in order to get that and obtain that goal. So it's just part of the process that sometimes you're gonna have hiccups and you're gonna, eventually find your way out. You're gonna find your way in order to say it to yourself, hey, I'm gonna buy that house. I'm gonna get that house, or I'm gonna achieve that goal of becoming my own home ownership, or I don't wanna live with my parents anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point about the plan, developing a plan. Some people they're just waiting for the right moment.
Yes.
But that's not really the case, right? You need to start planning now to be able to become a homeowner. Tell me some of the aspects of that plan. You started to talk about credit, which is very, very important, right? You need to have the credit to be able, and sufficient income, right, to get the house you want. But tell me about some of that planning, particularly to build up your credit and to really have that mindset that you want to work towards the future to become a homeowner.
Yeah, so some people either know about credit cards and some people don't. So first thing is, go to your local bank, get a credit card. They're going to tell you a specific limit you are allowed to borrow. You pay that every month. Don't spend too much money. That's pretty much it. Don't spend too much money, and if you do, pay it off in time. It's like paying an electric bill. If not, they're going to shut it off. The same thing. Your credit score is going to be impacted. So you want to make sure you have that credit history of being responsible. That's how banks see that you're a responsible person and that you're going to be able to pay and afford your mortgage. So that's one of the biggest ones. Yeah. Now, if you have a credit card and you don't use it, just keep it open. That's also a good thing too. Do not close it. It actually hurts you more to close it than to have it open.
Yeah, some people, some of those credit cards have like an annual fee. It's probably worth paying that fee if you keep that credit limit or the usage low, right? Because you want to have that buffer of ability to borrow, because that's very favorable for your credit score. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. So in addition to that, you probably need to change some habits, right? In terms of how you spend to be able to save. Is it important to have a buffer for a down payment, et cetera?
Yes, you have to be able to have and save up some money for a down payment. Sometimes you're not qualified for the first-time home buyer grant. So what you can do is have at least 3.5% down if this is a first-time home buying option for you. And that 3.5% down, you save for your down payment and closing costs. So, you save $20 a week or whatever you can do. I know it's very hard out there, but put yourself in that mentality. Okay, well, this is the money that I'm going to put away for the next 5 years. It doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you get to that point where, okay, I'm ready and I'm ready to rock and roll.
So some people may be in a position where they could buy but decide to keep renting and, maybe fear because the market prices are high. What do you tell those individuals? Is it still a good idea to enter the market and consult a realtor, for example, and look for opportunities to purchase now?
Yes, there's still very good opportunities. At the end of the day, if you enter now and let's say you're approved, so a lot of people don't know they're approved. So let's say you're approved and you're able to get assistance from the state, which is a down payment. So right now there are grants that can be anywhere from $10,000 to $17,000, depending on the county, where they help you to put money towards your down payment. So initially that helps a lot, and then you only have to put a certain amount for closing costs. It also depends on the purchase price. But if you go ahead and you get started now and you buy your house within the next, let's say 3 to 6 months, at least you're in your house, and then if interest rates do drop down, you can refinance. So at least it's something where you're paying your mortgage, you're paying that money. All that hard work is going into something that is yours. It's not going towards another person's mortgage. It's going to something that is yours, absolutely. Your hard work, it's something you're seeing coming home to that house.
Now, you were fortunate to start early. It took you 3 years.
Yes, it took me 3 years.
Tell me, what was the hardest part in the discipline that you had to have to be able to, save up and be in a position to own a home?
The hardest part was saving up money. That was the hardest part. You either had to, sometimes you had to make your pennies count. You had to either go out to eat or just say, hey, you know what, instead of going out to eat, I'm going to go ahead and save that money and put it towards the house. Or it'd be where, there was holidays where, some people just go all out for their kids, right? So we just said, okay, well, good thing right now the kids are young and they're not going to remember. And sometimes you just got to make them happy. As long as you're spending time with the family, being inside the house and not always having to see what's out there to experience, to have fun. Have fun inside your home, save up that money in order to finally have that goal in mind.
That's very good advice. And obviously, we want to talk a little bit about some other options that people may have. We're going to discuss that a little more in the next segment. We want to take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. Joining me is Jennifer Bollinger Mello to discuss the challenges and opportunities to home ownership. And Jennifer, we discuss about some of the challenges that we see in the market today. It's still an opportunity to purchase, and there are alternatives I want to discuss as well. But before we do, not everyone's looking to buy necessarily. You also have people who are looking to sell.
Yes.
It's now a good time if you're interested in selling, maybe relocating, maybe downsizing. Is this a good time?
It's a perfect time to sell. Having no inventory in the market helps you. It helps you get top money in your pocket. So the more buyers, the more offers on the table, and you get the ability to get thousands over asking price. Oh. So it's a really good opportunity to sell your house if it's something you want to pursue.
What are the steps you should take? And obviously, consulting a realtor such as yourself is probably one of the first steps. What other steps should you take if you're looking to sell?
Get an estimate to see how much your home is worth in today's market. So getting a value, preparing if it's something that you do want to move forward to, preparing. Curbside appeal, inside home interior, cleaning your house, decluttering, those are all options. Obviously, a lot of people say, is it a good time to sell now that we're entering the holidays or the spring? It's a good time to sell depending on, what's your hurry? Are you trying to move out of state? Are you trying to downsize because you found the perfect house and you're a little 55 plus? Or, obviously there could be other reasons to why. Financial reasons, you don't want to have a bigger mortgage anymore and you just want to be financially free.
Right. So people may be looking to retire, and obviously they may be looking to downsize as well.
Yes.
And maybe have some money in their pocket as well. Let's talk a little bit about some alternatives, right? We mentioned the challenges, but there are some alternatives and some programs, and we'll talk about the programs, but let's talk about the alternatives to necessarily buying a home by yourself.
Okay.
What are some
So
of those?
some of the programs are, there's the grant, we spoke about them. You have several options that lenders can suggest you to. It could be either you're qualified through an I-10 program, which means you don't necessarily have to have the credit, but you do have to have the down payment in order to be able to buy a house. It's a bigger down payment, but it is the option to buy. So versus paying $300,000 up front, which most people don't have it, or paying 10% of that $300,000. It just depends. You just have to ask a realtor exactly, what are your options if you're a non-citizen or you are a citizen.
How about, maybe a house may not be the best thing to do right now? How about thinking about a condo or other options in terms of buying?
Yeah, there could be, the condos are a great opportunity too because they have HOAs, so you have maintenance throughout the home. Some maintenance that the HOA covers are the roof. You don't have to worry about if your roof leaks, the HOA covers it. Ground maintenance, you work too much, you work crazy hours and you don't have time to cut the lawn. It's good to live in communities like those. You have a pool where you don't want to maintain your pool, so you just have the community fix the pool and just maintain it. So there's a lot of perks when it comes to living in those developments.
Talk about, you did mention the HOA, which is the extra fee for the maintenance. Sometimes that's the challenge, right? You may come in at low, but the HOA may be significantly higher. So you got to, balance that out. A mobile home, is that an option?
That is an option. It's not considered real property, but it's something that we still help people achieve, whether it be just owning their own mobile home, but they're not owners of the real property. So they own the mobile home, but they don't own the land. So there is a lot rent.
So it's typically not an investment, but it's certainly a way to get into a house or
Something that is yours, at
right,
least.
something that is yours,
Yeah.
exactly. Let's talk a little bit about some orthodox ways of buying a house. You mentioned that there's sometimes single moms come together. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I have had clients who are single moms. They're friends coming in to join on the loan. So a lot of them don't qualify on their own, so they come together to qualify. And it does become risky because it's two people owning a home instead of just one person or a spouse. So it becomes risky because a lot of people say, what happens if we don't get along in the future? But again, it just depends. You try to make it work, and it's something where you guys can still call it your own home and have a private backyard for your kids.
And obviously, you could have a nice negotiated contract between
Yes.
the two parties, right? That'll spell out anything that happens in the future, similar to what would happen with a married couple. When you talk about some of these challenges, they have many opportunities still available. Tell me a little bit about some of your success stories, and I know you had a couple of success stories.
One of them was helping a single mom. She actually reached out to me one of my first years of real estate. She actually asked me, how do I buy, And I told her, it's kind of the credentials. I send her to a mortgage lender, and she was approved after a year of calling me. So she followed the plan, she stuck to the plan, and after a year, she qualified. But after we found her a home, she was a single mom of 2 kids, we ended up going into a hiccup. The house wasn't really worth what it appeared on the market. So once the house got appraised, it was actually lower than $25,000 in value. So it was all about negotiating. It took about 3 weeks to a month to negotiate the purchase price.
And this is something that you help this person with.
Yes.
So it's important to contact a realtor such as yourself to help you through the process, especially, and I know you're willing to do this, to help them with a plan to buy in the future.
Yes.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing this important information with our audience. I'd love to have you back in the future and discuss more.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us at home once again here on Latino Motion.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare. For more information, call 1-888-569-1000 or visit atlanticare.org. Energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.